Joy Behar calls her a 10. I mean, how dare she objectify a woman with a sexist rating system, but it's such a typical thing from a 1.5.
Well said.
The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is. She has a point. Maybe I am obsessed, but some people are obsessed with Bigfoot, and they don't get to see him on TV every afternoon. And if they did, could they tell the two apart? I don't know.
Greg didn't have to shout. He just raised an eyebrow. With every sarcastic swing, he turned Joy's trademark smugness into something closer to an identity crisis. Then came Tyrus. Cool, composed, and barely blinking, firing off one-liners like he was at a comedy range with a reputation as a target. This wasn't playful banter. It was a comedic takedown.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and the, was it Bette Midler? What's her name? Broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked.
Live on air, Tyrus didn't turn up the volume. He dropped punchlines that landed like cinder blocks. Gutfeld's jabs didn't just cut. They sliced right through the decades-old mask of self-importance Joy's worn like armor. Let's face it, she's ruled daytime TV from her padded echo chamber long enough. But no one prepped her for this kind of ambush. This wasn't rage culture, it was surgical comedy, the kind that exposes instead of screams. Gutfeld came with timing sharp enough to etch glass, dismantling Joy's lines like he'd trained for this moment in a stand-up dojo. Tyrus? He just sat back and sipped her discomfort like it was a casual espresso. Suddenly, the laughter stopped, because when the room isn't clapping with you anymore, the throne starts to wobble. This wasn't debate. This was televised demolition. Quiet, precise, long overdue.
Joy Behar accused Elon Musk of being pro-apartheid, but then begged him afterwards not to sue. Musk lawyers have yet to comment because they're still checking to see if it's legal to sue a cow.
Shots fired.
Just a legal question. I don't know why it's so upsetting. I don't make the rules in this country.
Greg didn't have to say her name. We all knew. He painted a scathing portrait of a media archetype, the loud, self-righteous daytime host with a wine glass in hand, preaching to America while never having pumped their own gas. Sound familiar? If that isn't Joy Behar to a T, then gravity's a myth. Gutfeld didn't shout. He used satire like a scalpel. No name, no monologue, just crisp humor that left everyone watching wincing with recognition. Then Tyrus stepped in, the cold closer. No theatrics, no noise, just him locking eyes with the camera and asking a silent question. You're still letting her talk? His delivery was ice cold, intentional, devastating. While Joy performs for an audience trained to clap on cue, Tyrus and Gutfeld dismantle her act piece by piece, without even inviting her to the table. This wasn't some offhand roast. It was a precision strike masked as a comedy sketch, built to expose the myth of influence.
News, the feral monsters of The View say they've never heard of you-know-who. True, the show that makes mornings hell claim that my name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for...
Our view on The View. Ugh.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it.
Joy Behar didn't trend for something she said. She trended because two men laughed her into irrelevance, and she wasn't even in the room. Yet somehow, she was still the star of the show. Let's be honest. Her career plays like a blooper reel of hot takes, flub facts, and outrage that's so off-base it makes science fiction sound grounded. She's that guest who hijacks the party to deliver a mangled TED Talk about geopolitics, botching country names and citing cereal box headlines as if they're gospel. Living in a self-inflated reality bubble, she demands applause like it's oxygen. And that's where Gutfeld flipped the script. He didn't shout, he didn't attack. He smiled, raised a brow, and let the comedy do what commentary never could. No fireworks, just smart, sharp punchlines that dismantled her persona, one brick at a time. He didn't show up to fight. He showed up to reveal. This wasn't a battle. It was a wrecking ball dressed as wit. And Joy, she still thinks she's leading the parade, baton in hand, conducting on a sinking ship while the water rises and the lifeboats are long gone. That's not confidence. It's denial. Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't need to confront her. They simply turned the camera on and let the delusion speak for itself.
Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? No, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar.
That chaos? It's called The View. What once was a simple daytime panel has now turned into a full-blown stage play for politically confused drama queens. It's no longer a conversation. It's performance art for the unhinged. What used to be debates now feel like a live Twitter thread acted out by hosts trying to outdo each other's eye rolls and emotional outbursts. Facts? Forget about them. Now it's a contest to see who can yell louder, cry harder, or toss the wildest headline into the mix. Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld sits back, sipping coffee, watching the circus unfold, and quietly recording it all. He's not even in the ring. He's on a rooftop watching the daytime soap rerun. You can almost see him shaking his head, wondering how this show is still on air. Then, effortlessly, he drops a comedic bomb that shatters any illusion that The View ever had moral authority. He's not just mocking Joy Behar. He's dismantling her entire persona with no props, no shouting matches. His weapons are silence, a smirk, and a perfectly timed pause. His whole act relies on understatement. He speaks volumes with a single raised eyebrow. And then there's Tyrus, the quiet storm, where Joy needs background music and a cheering squad just to make a point. Tyrus hits you with half a sentence and leaves it hanging, expecting you to get it. The message couldn't be clearer. Joy Behar's act expired 3 scandals ago. Watching her beg to be taken seriously, while acting like a walking parody is pure comedy.
This is what elitists do who can't, like, if you don't know who someone is, how did you know to automatically hate him? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's how fake and full of she is. Gutfeld, never heard of him. Don't like him. Why? Cause why? That's why I just turned to one of my kids. Cause why?
Yeah.
Cause I don't know who he is. Never heard of him at all in my entire life. But why? Cause I don't know. Because they are the last TV show to talk about high turnover. Mm-hmm. We've been rolling 3 steady for a long time.
Yeah.
We don't take breaks in the commercial to get away from each other. Well, that's what the drinking's for.
Yes.
Megan McCain, how'd that go?
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell, or any of these previous fellow employees? Because one of the things they said was that no one walks away from money. Right?
Yeah.
So they got people running.
Joy preaches like a professor, but spits out facts like someone who fell asleep during high school civics. She's got the energy of a foghorn, the subtlety of a parade, and the accuracy of a broken-down Jeep. She doesn't win the crowd with wit. She wins it with noise. The applause she gets is less about cleverness and more about ideological loyalty. The audience isn't laughing because it's funny. They're clapping because they're expected to. Meanwhile, Gutfeld and Tyrus operate in a different realm, one where genuine laughter lives. The kind of laughter that sneaks up on you, can't be faked, and hits when someone finally points out the ridiculousness you never noticed. Joy needs a teleprompter and a trained audience. Gutfeld just needs a single camera and a savage punchline. Joy's been drowning in applause for so long, she started mistaking it for a real agreement. She thought the cheers meant she was right, untouchable even, but Greg Gutfeld never had to storm the stage or confront her. He just laughed from afar, cool, calm, and sharp, while she stood on her imaginary balcony, waving like royalty, convinced the crowd still adored her.
The problem is that you have to go after the racist people, and be the CEO goes, you know what? I'm not going to allow a woman on my show or man that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah.
Then there's Tyrus. No need for loud words or flashy rebuttals. He just gave her that look. The one that quietly says, "You actually believe what you just said?" Then he walked away. No mic drop needed, just pure silence. And that silence was the loudest mockery, because you can't fight satire with sincerity. You can't shut down irony with outrage. Joy has been a queen of performative outrage for years, storming stages with emotion, while Gutfeld dodges her swings with jokes, timing, and cold logic wrapped in absurd humor. It's not that she can't change, it's that she's married to the act. She could quit the show, rewrite her script, even step away from the chaos, but she won't. Why? Because on TV, being right, even when wildly wrong, is addictive. That applause is a drug, and Joy has been hooked for too long. That's the real target for Gutfeld and Tyrus. Not Joy the person, but Joy the performance. The media-made persona who's mastered the art of outrage. In another casual takedown, Gutfeld delivered a monologue packed with punchlines that felt like a hit piece, tearing apart daytime talk TV's shaky moral compass. The audience laughed not because it was outrageous, but because it was true. He didn't even need to name her. Everyone knew who he was talking about. It was like exposing the Emperor's ridiculous outfit without mentioning him. Everyone saw it. Everyone laughed. That's comedy gold. Then Tyrus let his face do the talking. No words, no reaction, just calm disbelief that said, "Is this really what we're doing now?" That single expression probably did more damage than a 10-minute rant.
It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. It really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. How can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest scum.
It hit so hard that whatever shred of self-awareness Joy had left probably melted right then and there. Let's be real. This was long overdue. Someone finally roasted The View without stepping foot on its overhyped stage. The show has gone from hot topics to a full-blown parody of itself. It's like watching a how-to guide on murdering nuance, but with all the drama and matching coffee mugs. The wildest part? Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't even need to show up. They're already producing a far more entertaining version. No scripts, no fake applause, just raw satire with teeth. While Joy delivers every monologue like she's defending a constitutional amendment, Gutfeld acts like he's at a cocktail party where politics came up too early, uncomfortable, hilarious, and brutally real. Because here's the truth. Nobody wants to be lectured by someone who treats disagreement like a disease. Joy talks to people. Gutfeld laughs with them. And this wasn't just a takedown of Joy Behar. It was a takedown of the entire system that props her up. The formula, the echo chamber, the performance disguised as insight. They didn't need to name her once, but the message was crystal clear. Joy might still believe she holds the mic of moral authority, but the punchline is the audience is laughing at her, not with her. People aren't tuning in to be scolded anymore. They're switching to Gutfeld and Tyrus, who roast the whole system with sharper wit and fewer words. What made this takedown legendary wasn't the volume. It was the surgical precision. They didn't scream, didn't melt down, didn't even raise their voices. Instead, they let the contrast do the talking, showing just how ridiculous the act has become by doing the exact opposite. Staying calm, being funny, and letting Joy Behar's absurd persona collapse under its own weight. No arguments, no shouting matches. Just bold contrast turning Joy into a living caricature of everything they called out.
Sure, all that, and the price of butter. Sonny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, asking that question, it might have been a closer election. But when oh no, nothing really comes to mind, I was like, cha-ching. Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They called him Hitler. They call these things. America rejected them, and instead of coming back and saying we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your.
And that's what really stings. She wasn't taken down by insults. She was outclassed by irony. While The View keeps serving sanctimony wrapped in applause, Gutfeld and Tyrus deliver comedy with real bite. Audiences are starting to show which flavor they actually crave. One offers lectures, the other offers laughs. And when people grow tired of being talked down to like kids in detention, laughter always wins a crown. Joy didn't even make the guest list. And that's the punchline no one saw coming. While Joy Behar sat on her squeaky studio throne, eyes fixed on the door waiting for a challenger to burst in with fanfare and fire, Gutfeld and Tyrus were already done with the fight. They weren't trying to dethrone her. They were slow roasting her legacy like forgotten leftovers in a daytime crock pot. No invite, no RSVP, no welcome mat. They didn't attack her directly. They laughed around her, and that's what made it hit harder. This wasn't a roast with her in the hot seat. It was a silent dismantling. Total annihilation without even naming her. It wasn't a showdown. It was a drive-by demolition from the next block over. Gutfeld didn't step into her arena. He lit the fuse in his own studio, took a sip of coffee, and sat back as Joy's self-built empire began shaking from the outside in. Tyrus didn't flinch either. No shouting, no speeches. Just that signature deadpan glare and a single snort that somehow landed heavier than any of Joy's 10-minute speeches about saving democracy.
It's running her mouth. She should. But she should. It's the only running she does. Emily! So what did you make of this? VVAC is what she called him. I don't care if you disagree or agree with him. That dude is not dumb.
No, and that is what was so ridiculous. Everything that comes out of her mouth is ridiculous, but for her to make that kind of point about someone that we all know, that regardless how you feel about his politics or him running, that he is undeniably brilliant, is so ridiculous.
And the wildest part? She still doesn't realize the shift. Joy is no longer the main character. She's background noise to a joke she never saw coming. That's the part that really burns. Joy expected the usual fireworks, loud back and forths, dramatic rebuttals, maybe even a chaotic split-screen showdown. What she got instead, a roast with a guest of honor, wasn't even invited. Imagine building your whole identity around sparking reactions, only to find out nobody's reacting anymore. The bear's been poked so many times it's not angry, it's bored. The costumes have faded, the act is old, and the circus left town years ago. The saddest part? The crowd barely noticed. We've entered a new era. Audiences are done with over-scripted, emotionally bloated daytime rants pretending to be profound. They want sharp jokes, slick sarcasm, and side eyes that say everything without a single lecture. Cultural currency has flipped, and the performative outrage Joy relies on no longer spends like it used to. The View went from a midday battleground of bold opinions to a dusty wax museum. The hosts glitch mid-sentence while pretending they're still dangerous.
Here's Joy Behar talking about refusing to share a kidney.
I find
could be
it
friends
bizarre.
with a Trump supporter. I won't give them a kidney, but I could be friends with them.
Hey, Joy, it's a kidney, not a pizza. Of course, she's kidding at first, but then she goes on to explain the moral foundation for her resentment, and it's the same one that drives all deadly ideologies.
It used to feel like live TV. Now it's just reheated leftovers passed around by people pretending the fire's still burning. Meanwhile, Gutfeld show is chaos, but honest chaos. It's like a gritty dive bar where the bartenders crack jokes, and every punchline is served with a splash of truth and zero sugarcoating. It's messy, loud, and somehow still makes more sense than the over-polished nonsense spoon-fed at noon. Younger viewers aren't buying what Joy's selling. They're not here for lectures from millionaire panelists who mistake applause for facts. They're done watching puppet shows where the strings are exposed and the puppeteers yell off script. They're tuning into Gutfeld and Tyrus. Not for answers, but for the smirk that reminds them none of this is that deep, and the joke was never hers to tell. Meanwhile, Joy's still out here yelling at clouds like her voice controls the sky. She hasn't noticed the storm past years ago.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Meanwhile, Gutfeld's cracking jokes and raising eyebrows like he's forecasting the weather, with sarcasm. And Joy, she's stuck throwing shade at thunder like she's got divine power. Spoiler alert, the sky's moved on and so has everyone else. So wherever you are, Joy, probably backstage rehearsing another segment where every nod and clap is pre-programmed before you even speak. Just know this. The takedown already happened. You just weren't there when it aired. You need to be. Gutfeld and Tyrus didn't need your presence to roast you. They only needed what you left behind. Your brand, your behavior, your show. That was all the material they needed. The rest wrote itself. That's how you truly dismantle someone, without raising your voice or stepping into the ring. You let the satire do the talking. And in this case, the punchline was a legacy. Let's check Joy's throne now. Oh, wait. It's just a shaky old stool propped up by reruns, a fading laugh track, and takes that age like warm milk. Somebody grab a broom. This set is ready for cleanup.